First things first, like basically we looked at like adding columns from examples as such. Okay. So any doubts from those? Hope you got at least a chance to look at what we have discussed the other day and all. Any questions that you guys have? Any questions I can just clear? So probably I just shared you the Power BI report as well, so that if you guys get a chance, you can even go through that as well. So basically, you can just go through, understand, and work accordingly as in case you have any doubts as well. Okay, so let's start. So the other things that we were looking at, like creating of custom columns. So there are two things to creating of custom columns. Like let's say we can create some in the Power Query window, as well as we can create in the desktop version also. Okay. And the reason we create in Power Query is like if there is a chance like we have to like link multiple tables, and we can just create a certain particular column, custom column based on like few columns in one of the query, then there is no need to load the table again to the desktop actually. By this, what we are doing, we are trying to like reduce the number of queries that we are putting onto the report. And every time the refresh happens, right, it has to refresh all the tables. So for that, it will take certain time. And in order to improve the performance of the report, we'll try to reduce the number of columns. Okay, I mean to say, if our report needs only like 5 to 6 columns, we'll just take only that, and we'll try to ignore the other columns. In that way, like we discussed, right? We'll just consider only these 5 columns. So what I will do, I'll just right click, remove other columns I'll do. So I'm just taking only these 5 columns to Power BI as such. So by this, what happens? We are just loading only 5 columns every time, wherein any additional rows, it will just be added at the bottom as such. That's how it is. So in that case, what we are doing, we are able to improve the performance of the report. For that reason, we'll do that. So coming back to the conditional column, as I was saying, we can create one from in here, and we can create one from the using the DAX also. That anyhow we are going to discuss when we are looking at the DAX as well. Okay. So a couple of other examples. Let's see. Okay, in here. So let's say if yesterday we have written another one condition like sales greater than 100 or lesser than like 500. Give me some value as such, true or false. Okay. In the similar fashion, we can give one more thing. Okay. Like suppose we will use category also. So again, another conditional condition, we'll just write if category is equal to, okay, furniture, and sales greater than 200. Okay, then we'll say like these are like well done sales, something like, or good sales, something that like that we want to give it actually. Okay, so this will be our condition in here, and we are saying end. So let's see what is the error it shows in here. It is throwing some error in here. Okay, show error, it is not coming up. So for usually the text thing, right? We have to like either give the single quote or double quote. We'll try to change that, and still we are getting the error. That is not the reason then. Um, and see what are we doing in here? Okay, let's I try and understand that also. We are looking at a text, and we are looking at a numeric value also in here. So when we are looking at like multiple conditions in here, in that case, probably we will have to understand whether our condition will work or not, whether our condition is a combination of a text and even a sales, which is a numeric value. This is like number value, and this is text value as such. So basically here we are able to we are not able to understand the probably that might be one of the reason where our condition is not able to satisfy. Instead of this category, let me put sales only again. Okay, sales lesser than 100. Okay, sorry, greater than 100. Let's say with the condition that we gave yesterday, and lesser than 200, then we are saying as a good sales. Okay, now let's see if this works or not. Okay, let me copy this because it was throwing earlier error. I just want to like go to the custom column again. Now copy the condition. So good sales and I'm just probably it may not accept the space is what I was thinking. So that is the reason I gave that. Mm, this will be the condition actually, usually, but still it's throwing some error actually. Let's see what is the error. For some reason, this isn't working fine. But otherwise, yesterday as we gave, it was working fine. It was just giving the true or false value as such. But today, for some reason, it is not working. Custom column, let's check again. Okay, if category, whatever the category it is, if it is equal to furniture, otherwise we'll just leave this. We'll just say category as furniture. Now this is working fine. Okay. Second thing, and sales, okay, greater than 200. Is it working fine? Yes. You see, these two are working fine. If then is something we have to give. If okay, then okay, then we'll say sale, otherwise end. But some issue with this condition, I think, where if I'll remove then actually, and is working fine. Okay, some issue actually. I am unable to rectify in here also. I will remove this if condition. Probably that may not give the right answer for me. Okay. So if this condition satisfied, then it will give the true value for me. So wherever that false is coming, that's like it is not satisfying for me. Okay. Let's see the condition. Instead of this true and false, actually, we can give a condition what we want actually. Okay. We'll see what the condition is satisfying or not. So category we said furniture. Okay. And where is category? Yeah. Category we have furniture in here. And if that sales, I selected true. If that sales is greater than 200, we were asking it to give the true value as such. So all these values, if you see, they are like 200 greater than 200. That is where we are getting the. So our condition is true in here as such. Okay. So let me clear the filter in here. Okay. We have another. I'll just talk about this invoke function in a bit, but well, let's talk about conditional column. Okay. The custom column and conditional column. Okay. If we see in here, what we can do is we can select a particular value. I mean, to set the column out of the values that we have here. So we will select country and it equals to US. We have something called US data and Canada data. Okay. Then I want it as United States. Okay. And else part, I just want to add as a Canada. Okay. Now I'll just say full name of country. Okay, I'll just click OK. Now you see we got Canada and the other things also. Probably we filtered out something, I think. Based on that, it is not giving the values for the US actually. It should give the United States also. Yeah, here we filtered something else also. So now let's see what are we getting. There. Any other filtering that we have done anywhere. Okay. Let's see the condition in here again. Okay. If the country equals US, then United States, else Canada. Country, I think within the country, probably we do not have the values for the Canada as such. All are like United States only. That is where it's like giving only null. And United States, what it is giving, let's see that. It says Canada. Actually. I think our conditional column has to be, okay. It should be United States actually. United States. Then that will work. It will give the United States. I was giving US, but the value in the country one was United States actually. So that is where it was not coming up. Okay. So I was thinking to give the values from in here, like whatever the order ID that we have taken, we have extracted CA and US, right? I thought of giving the values for that actually. So for this reason, we will use the conditional call. We can give any kind of condition in here. Okay. Suppose we can take the sales also. See, when we took the text data type and we were looking at the output. Okay. Now let's take the numerical value. Okay. We will say is greater than. Okay. If the sales is greater than 200, then we will say good sales. I told you, right? We can give the condition like this in custom column also. That was not working. Otherwise, I will say normal sales actually. Else give normal sales as such. Okay. I'll click OK now. Now you see we got good sales, normal sales, good sales, normal sales, and everything. If I double click in here, we have given this condition. We tried to give this condition in the custom column, wherein that was not working actually. However, we were able to give that condition in here where we are getting the normal sales and good sales both. Okay. And how we can utilize this, you may have certain question actually. Okay. So in the front end, how you would utilize that is, let me show you one example, because all this time we are trying to look at how to model the data, how we can create conditions. Okay. That and all we were looking at. But let's see this one. If we go to the orders table as such, where we have written our condition, it's still refreshing. So give me a minute. Okay, it's done now. Okay. So we created one condition, right? Well, let's look at that condition by going to the orders table as such. Okay. So full name of country, I'll just rename like sales criteria. So this may be my criteria. Okay. And I would like to use this sales criteria in the front end actually. Okay. So I want to do an analysis where based on my sales criteria and how much sales I am making in good sales and how much sales I am making in the normal sales. If we see, I can just put it in a focus mode or I mean to say this one is the focus mode actually. If we see in here, the good sales, more the sales, we are making more sales actually. Okay. And if the sales is like lesser than $100 something, we are making very less sales. So most of our sales is something related to the good sales that is more than $200 as such. And we will see the profit also. Okay, for example, we can bring the profit also in here. Then we can see if there is more sales, we are making more profit. Okay. If the sales is less, probably the profit will also be less. Okay. So by this, what we are able to understand, if we are making $200 more sales, okay, based on our criteria that we have given in here, we are trying to make more sales as such. Okay, that is where we were able to understand by this in here. Or if we are unable to if we are making lesser than $100 sales, that will be like lesser profit and lesser sales. That's how it is. So what we have to understand by this is whether our analysis is it working fine for the users or not. That is what we are going to look at based on this conditions that we are writing here. Okay, this is one of the scenario that we can think of. Then again, going back to the add column, I will just go through this invoke function later. Okay, we have one example that I would like to share actually. Again, this will be similar to the date table that we have created. If you remember, this is the query that we have passed in here. Okay, let me go to the advanced editor. So the uh, within this the invoke function. Okay, this is the function. We gave start date as a date, end date as a date, and the financial year start month as number. This we are creating as a table as such. Okay, so first this will invoke this function. This is the function name that we have given in here as well. Okay, in the same way that we can go in here, if we want to create certain function also, we can go in here again, click on invoke function. We can give a name as such in here. Okay, like let's say date, someone we are creating. If you see the query one is here, you see, because that is a function that we have created in here. So it is all again asking for the input start date, end date, the financial year start month and all. By using this invoke function, we have created that date table that I showed you earlier, because these are the parameters that it will be asking for. Okay. And in case invoke function, if you are not creating, probably this window will not come up where it is asking for a parameters at all. And if we go to the advanced editor for this also, you can see what is the query that is being popped up as a table and all. What is it is doing is, by running this function, it's trying to create a table, and that table output will be created as a separate one in here. If you see, date table is being created. Okay, and let's look few things in here. Okay, if we go to the advanced editor, okay, we are seeing list the all the dates where that should be between the start date and the count or the duration, that is. Okay, so what we are taking the start date in here as such. See, we are inputting the date as such, so it will start the date in here, and it will give the number of all the dates based on this condition that we are giving in here. And the day count, how it will go is, it will be like duration, the number of days between the end date and the start date. And probably this end date we are somewhere specifying in here as such. Give me a minute. Let me quickly show you that also. Let me open Notepad actually. And here we are searching for end date. Okay, again, the end date is something we are inputting the date in here. That is where it's showing you on the top. End date is something we are trying to input, and we are asking it to give the duration of the days. The duration is nothing but the number of days that we want to give for each and every row, and that is where it is populating in here as such. అంటే మనకు అవుట్పుట్ ఎలా రావాలి అని అనుకుంటే అలా వస్తుంది. ఇక్కడ డేట్ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ ఏదైతే ఇచ్చామో మనం డేట్, అడ్వాన్స్ ఎడిటర్లో వెళ్తే డేట్ అది ఉంది కదా, ఆ డేటే మనం ఇక్కడ సెలెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం క్వైరీలో. ఆ డేట్ ప్రకారంగానే ఈ నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ డేట్స్ ఇస్తాయి. అయితే ఈ డేట్ని తీసేసుకొని ఇక్కడ వేరే అన్ని కూడా క్యాలిక్యులేట్ అవుతూ ఉన్నాయి అన్నమాట. సో అది మనం క్వైరీలో వెళ్తే మళ్ళీ మనకు తెలుస్తుంది. ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ సోర్స్ అని తీసుకున్నాము. అయితే ఇక్కడ టేబుల్ ఫ్రమ్ లిస్ట్ అంటే ఇదైతే టేబుల్ ఇక్కడ ఉందో ఆ టేబుల్ అందులోంచి లిస్ట్ స్ప్లిట్ చేస్తుంది. స్ప్లిట్ బై నథింగ్ అంటే అది జస్ట్ డేట్ స్ప్లిట్ చేయడానికి అంతే. తర్వాత ఇక్కడ నుంచి మీకు స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది చూడండి. అంటే కాలమ్స్ రీనేమ్, చేంజ్ టైప్, తర్వాత ఇన్సర్ట్ ఇయర్, అంటే ఇది ఈ కాలం వచ్చేసి ఇయర్ యాడ్ చేస్తుంది. అది ఎక్కడి నుంచి తీసుకొని ఏదైతే డేట్ ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చామో ఆ డేట్లోంచి ఇయర్ పిక్ చేసుకొని అది అవుట్పుట్ ఇవ్వమని చెప్తున్నాం. సిమిలర్గా ఇక్కడ కూడా ఇయర్ నంబర్ ఇవ్వమని చెప్తున్నాం. అది కూడా ఏంటి, మళ్ళీ అగైన్ డేట్, ఇయర్ ఆఫ్ డేట్, అంటే ఇయర్ నంబర్ మాత్రమే ఇస్తుంది ఇక్కడ ఈ పర్టికులర్ దాంట్లో. దీంట్లో వచ్చేసి ఇయర్ ఇస్తుంది. అది మనం చూస్తాం యాక్చువల్గా డేట్ క్వైరీలో వెళ్తే ఇవన్నీ అవుట్పుట్ వస్తుంది అనమాట. ఇయర్ నంబర్, తర్వాత క్వార్టర్, ఏ క్వార్టర్లో ఉన్నాం మనము, ఏ మంత్లో ఉన్నాం మనము, ఆ స్పెసిఫిక్ ఇయర్ అవన్నీ కూడా చూపిస్తుంది. సో ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ వెళ్తే ఇయర్ వచ్చింది, ఇయర్లో ఏ క్వార్టర్లో ఉన్నామంటే ఫస్ట్ క్వార్టర్, సెకండ్ క్వార్టర్, థర్డ్ క్వార్టర్, తర్వాత మంత్ ఆఫ్ ఇయర్, డే ఆఫ్ మంత్, ఇలా అన్నీ కూడా ఇక్కడ ఈ క్వైరీలో వెళ్తే దీన్ని చూసి ఇక్కడ క్యాలిక్యులేట్ అయి ఉన్నాయి అనమాట. సో బేసికలీ ద క్వైరీ రిప్రజెంట్స్ all the different date columns that we have created within the date tables. Okay. The reason why I was telling that is we can create the date table using this custom column also. Okay. If you remember, I have added the dates in there, right? So from here again, remove the year again, year again, or we can even say date add. Yesterday we looked at, right, date add, number of days we can add to a specific date as such. Okay, then we looked at some number functions also we can look at actually. Okay, let's say number uh, is even or not, it will give. Okay, so in that case we can just input a particular column as such. Okay, so here we can give a year actually. Okay, so we'll double click in here and we'll just close the bracket. Now the syntax is good. Whether that again the output will be either true or false actually. Okay, but here we are getting some error because we cannot convert the value 2030 into a type number, it says. Okay, basically whatever the custom column that we are trying to add, right? Okay, this is showing as a text type. That is where it got aligned in here. Instead of this text, let's give this quarter of the year actually, this. So here we will just type it, quarter of year, and this will give the output for us. See, either true or false it's giving. So wherever the value is like even number, let's just give the true. See, a quarter of the year is 2 and it shows true value here. And in the similar function there are other, this is the number function that we looked at. We can even look at the text function. Text function, let's say ends with, we will take actually, if we open the bracket. Okay, first we'll give the text. Which text we can give? We can give the month name. Okay, and we want to know whether that ends with a specified text by me. Okay, so I will say like January, it will end by R1, right? So I would like to give that as an input. Okay, now we see no syntax error that have been detected. So the input that we are giving text, does it end with like RY something or not? Okay, we will get the January, February also as an output. I'm just giving an example. I'm not going in detail actually. Ends, okay, ends with RY. So I am giving a certain examples actually based on my real-time experience. You see, ends with RY it is showing. So if we select this as a true, and if we go back to the month name and check, okay, month name, see January it gave as an output, February it gave as an output. That's what it happens based on the condition that we have set up in here. So we looked at number function. This is the text function. And yesterday we looked at the date function also. We have something called table functions also. Okay, probably table, if we want to add certain column, okay, that will be helpful for us in order to look for the table function. Okay, Table I haven't used most of the times in my experience. Okay, but let's see, go to the all functions. We'll just convert this into a table, and let's filter out for the table functions that we were trying to look for. Okay, table, and we will say table dot column, or table dot okay, table. We'll just see the table dot column first. Okay, and how this function performs. Let's see that. Okay, as I was referring yesterday, like we can utilize all these things. Okay, in order to look for the examples that are there and how to use that function also. Okay, if we see table dot column, it returns a column of data specified by column from the table. Okay, or table as a list. Okay, so basically here it is asking us to give a list of values. Okay, for which it can get the output as the column that whatever the data that we are specifying actually. Okay, so if we see in here, uh, function table as table, column as text as list, it returns the value from the name column. Okay, in the table. So basically, from the output that we are taking in here, it gives the output the name. That is where it shows Bob, Jim, Paul, and Ringo in here. And out of this, we are asking it to give the name output as such. Okay. So in the similar fashion, we will be able to create another table functions also in this way. But let me see if I can create one. I'll go to the add column, custom column, and the table dot column. Okay, and if I open a particular uh, table as table, column as text, it says. So probably we have to give a table as an input in here. But whatever the columns we are, these are all the columns as such. So let's say if we can insert something, yeah, I don't think we can insert a table in here. And we will do one thing, we'll just go to a blank query in here. And here I will say add column, and within blank query we cannot add the column on. Let me do one more thing. Let me go back to the orders table itself, add custom column, and table dot column. Okay, and see, don't press tab actually after you getting that value. Sometimes it overlaps. It's giving two times table actually. This is again one of the issue when we are using the tab. So here I will just take some segment in here and column, comma, column as text, give the output as a otherwise I will take it the category only in here. Okay, where the furniture I want to get the output as the column that we are looking at, and now it says no syntax error. Okay, and it's throwing an error in here. Let's see what it is. We cannot apply field access to the type text. Okay, value is equal to furniture and a key is equal to furniture. Okay, we cannot apply field access itself. Um, let's change this to furniture. Am I getting the values now? No. So probably the input that we are given in here, that might be causing something as an error, because with the output what we are trying to get in, it is not giving the output, it's just throwing an error actually. And it just says we cannot apply field access to the type text. So what we are passing in here, if we double click on this, we are passing it text actually. So um, the output that we are trying to look at is based on this. So that is where we are not getting the exact result actually for this. We'll just look at most of the table functions that we have in here, right? Are not so useful, I would say, because we can create the tables based on the DAX actually within the Power Query. So I don't think the table functions are that necessary in here. You can ignore those as such. Okay, but the text functions you can remember. There are many text functions that we have. Also, we have many number functions also. Okay, that is important. And where if we see, there are a few things that are self-explanatory as well. Okay, we can either get the is even, is odd number. Okay, that we can get the roundup number, or we can get any random number. Okay, if we want any random number, we can just type it here. If we click in here, we'll get the function. What is it looking for? Okay, and see, we are getting the random number in here because we have in the custom column, it has invoked a function actually. That is where, see, returns a random number between 0 and 1. That is where the output what we got is something related to between the 0 and 1 here as such. Okay, these are like few of the functions that are there. These are like self-explanatory. Okay, for time being, I will stop it in here, and we'll just discuss a few more functions. Okay, in our coming class. Also, we'll discuss something related to index column, duplicate column. Also, I'll give one example in regards to the function also. Anyway, we looked at one function which is like it is start giving the start date and end date and the financial year number that we are doing. Okay, but anyway, I will just like come up with another example for the invoke function as such. So that will be helpful for you guys. Any questions? I'll just stop the recording in here.